Okay. Still too loud, isn't it? This is better. Okay, so we continue with the next topic, unless you have a question or if you need to say something. Otherwise, the way that this is done usually is like, you know, we would have, like in Tushita, we would have 7 days of teaching the Lam Rim continuously, and then afterwards 2 days in total silence doing these meditations. Okay. So again, make yourselves comfortable. Think about the preciousness of our existence. It's so important to think about this again and again and again. No matter how bad the situation is, there is always, we have human society has so many resources. We forget. So when things are not going the way we want them to go in our life, means we have negative karma ripening. And that negative karma would also ripen if we're reborn in the lower states. But then we wouldn't have all these resources that we have in human society. We have a medical system, we have our own mind that can figure things out. We know how to help ourselves. And sometimes it works very quickly, sometimes it doesn't work. So like this. And with the rarity of the precious human rebirth, you know, I was just thinking about this, because there's some examples that we, that are in the texts. Maybe one of you remembers one of these examples. That the precious human rebirth is like a blind.
The turtle in the sea that pulls its head out into the
right.
What was
into a golden yolk. So on the ocean, there is a golden yolk. You know, a yolk is what you put over the head of horses when they pull the cart. So it's a ring kind of thing. Yeah. Then there's a blind turtle in that ocean, a blind turtle, and she only comes up to the surface once every 100 years. And to have a precious human rebirth that you use it properly is that situation. The chance of the blind turtle going with her head into that ring is like this. So how can we ask questions like, why is not everybody kind of practicing that? You know, it's like, it would be like asking, why is the turtle not coming out in the ring? It's like, yeah. So then we feel very, very fortunate. Okay, so we start again the same way. We do a bit of visualization, invoking the Buddha so that we have the blessings. And also when you do meditations, by the way, of course, if you have trust in the Buddha, if you are, you know, the image of the Buddha is kind of making you go, oh, then there's no point, then it's not healthy. But if you have trust in the Buddha and you try to meditate and you're totally distracted and nothing works, then put the Buddha on top of your crown and just focus there, you know, or even have like nectar light coming and opening up your heart or something like that. You can be very, very creative with these things. You have to find out what works best for you. This is why Buddhism is basically quite difficult to practice, because for some people this works, you know, like, okay, the 100 million shekel, for some people works, they go like, ah. Other people say, no, thank you. I wonder if you would say no, thank you. I'm not so sure about it, if you would refuse it. So anyway, so think about that. So this is why we have to find out what works. And this is the good thing about Buddhism. It's nothing that is black and white. It is, you know, it's a lot of different methods, and you find out what works. What works in what sense? In the sense of, you know, you become more open, more calm, good heart, and you feel more at ease. putting your mind at ease with whatever is. This is important. Like, we cannot control the outer world. We cannot wait for the outer world to do what we want it to do. But we can transform our attitude to that outer world. Instead of seeing it with a mind that is tense and angry and frustrated and confused, we can think about certain things that we will do, not in this meditation, but in the next one, when we do the death absorption, where we take as a support the sutra at the time of death. But now first we have to convince ourselves that we're going to die, because we think we know, but we don't really. So again, make yourself comfortable with a happy mind that your body can still sit upright, for example. How many times do we appreciate that? Usually we only notice the body when something is wrong. We hardly ever say thank you to the body that it digests, it eliminates all the things that shouldn't be kept inside, like pee-pee, caca. It has an immune system that very often can ward off sicknesses by itself. It has a system where we have a vaccine that protects us from the virus, maybe for a certain amount of time. So connect with that body. That makes it possible for you to practice. How could we practice generosity if we wouldn't have a body? How could we practice pure ethics if we wouldn't have a body and a speech to harm others? Try to feel that appreciation for the healthy body. Again, if there's no appreciation coming up, then think how it would be if the body would not be healthy. It would be lying in a hospital on an incubator so that you can breathe. It would be in a coma. It would be full of pain before or after an operation. But it's not, so we just appreciate it. We become aware of what we really want, why we're doing that. I'm sick and tired to be under the control of my unhelpful emotions that prevent me from living my values that I have. We have all natural values: kindness, compassion, wanting to be generous, patient, and all these kind of things. Don't think about others, just look at yourself. This is important for us, and we get upset when somebody else is going against these values. We should get upset when we are going against the values, not when others go against them. That's their business. That's why we're doing this. Be able to live my values spontaneously, uninterruptedly, and effortlessly. That it becomes natural, not an effort, not a duty, not to impress others. Habit. How do I do it? So we think about Shakyamuni Buddha as our mentor, the Dharma as the method, the Sangha as the companions on this path. We take refuge, meaning we put ourselves under the protection of the three jewels. We follow advice. We think about Guru. If you have one, if not, just, think about His Holiness the Dalai Lama that you all know. Hear how he loves. Immediately the heart opens. And we become aware that Shakyamuni Buddha is Guru, the Guru is Shakyamuni Buddha. We unify these two. And we feel their presence. Now, even if you say, I don't believe in this, that they can be here. If I wouldn't have a guru, I wouldn't be able to tell you all these things. So, Kirti Tenzin Rinpoche is definitely here, even though he's left his body. we are the children of our Guru. Of course, they're constantly present in our thoughts, in what we say and how we behave. And in protecting us. Same way as a parent, you always want to protect your children, even if they're in America, it doesn't matter. It's this attitude. We try to feel it. And of course, as fully awakened beings, they have more capacities than we have. So we take refuge, we put ourselves under the protection, we feel protected, we feel guided, accepted, seen, heard. And we see that the Guru is happy that we're doing this. It's another aspect. Like children or parents when they see that their children are doing the right thing. We don't have to worry that the Gurus will not love and accept us anymore because we're such failures. They will accept us anyway. We don't have to prove anything to them. Same way as your children shouldn't have to prove anything to you as parents in order for you to love. This is the Guru, this is the Buddha. Their sole reason for existing is to be of benefit to us. And they trained this mind over eons and eons and eons of lifetimes until it was perfect. So we feel the present. I said, if you feel distracted or not so well, you put Shakyamuni Buddha on your crown. And you might even think, okay, I don't feel anything, but he's definitely there. This kind of conviction. Same way as we don't feel radio waves, but they're here, they're there. And you only have to put on your radio. When we visualize, when we develop trust, then the blessings of the Gurus and the Buddha can reach us. And you think of all sentient beings. We are totally dependent on that we have contact with since beginningless lifetimes. And bodhicitta is so easy. We don't have to choose. This one, yes, I like. This one, I dislike. We can see that some people are very helpful. Other people are very harmful. We don't throw them out of our heart. There is space for everyone. Think all of these beings. This is why I'm doing this. I will lead to a state which is free from suffering and the cause of suffering. And then again, we do 5 minutes of just silent, focusing. You do your own practice, whatever you find helpful and whatever you use. Sorry. And bring friendliness into that practice so it becomes alive. Otherwise, it's kind of a bit dead. And the gratitude. I can really train my mind. I have methods, I have the interest. How wonderful. Okay. So then we're going to look at the fragility of this precious human rebirth that we're also not aware of. We all know, or seemingly know, that we're going to die one day, but it seems to be somewhere in the future. Don't really believe or take into consideration that we could be dead tonight or this afternoon or next hour. I mean, if you do, if you are aware of that, then just be happy about it. Also, it doesn't mean that you're not making any plans for tomorrow, because we might still be alive. But we have no absolute guarantee. We have a good chance that tomorrow will still be alive. But we have no guarantee because, as it says here in the next verse, this life is impermanent as a water bubble. Remember how quickly it decays and death comes. And then again, Kisha and then Lam Rim Kappa, they give us a structure how to internalize that. The first point that we think about is that death is absolutely certain. And see how you relate to that fact. Again, how you react to that fact. So quite okay to think, yes, I will die, not just the other. Don't run away from the reaction. The mind will calm down once it is used to this fact. Because it's a natural law. And how can we have a happy life if we keep going or try to go against the natural law? We're going against reality. I mean, this is crazy. Everybody's doing it. I will die. At one point, there will be a world without me. How does that feel? Does it seem real? Or is it just a thought in the head? Is it panicking? Is it relief? Just notice. Don't manipulate anything. Don't fabricate anything. So because we still don't believe it properly, we have to give the mind reasons, arguments, why that's the way, why it is like this. So the first one is because everybody has to die. We cannot think of one person who didn't die when they were born. And it doesn't matter. You are very rich, you're very famous, you're very powerful, you're very intelligent. None of it can help at the time of death. We're always planning the future. Now go and try to see the future when you're not on this planet anymore. Maybe a stone in a graveyard with your name on it. Visualize that. Again, as I said in the first session, if it becomes too much, don't do it. But still, we have to face that fact. At one point, all that will be left of me, maybe, is a stone with a name on it. In my case, nothing. Because I wrote down that they should scatter my ashes. Maybe put them into tzatzas, but not with the name, oh, here is Ani Losang. Does that feel real? try to think of a place where you could really say, here, death cannot find me. Here I'm safe. And you hide from death. See, when somebody is sick and they have to go to hospital and then the doctor says, oh, sorry, there's nothing we can do. When they're not very old, we always think, but there must be something that one can do. Isn't it? Again, I'm not saying you should let yourself just die like this. You should try at all costs to stay alive, to continue to practice in this human body. The time will come where even you go up to the highest mountain, into the deepest cave, down into the ocean, or even into outer space. Death can find you anywhere because we carry it with us. We were born, so it's natural and normal that we have. Or even we would be a very powerful person, you know, a big army that's trying to protect us. Even if we would be a very rich person that can pay many people to keep us alive, like all the famous doctors, professors would come running from all the health systems. And even if all the spiritual leaders and all spiritual practitioners would make prayers, there will be a moment where none of them will work to keep us alive. To get a feeling of this absolute certainty of, yes, I will die. And then we add one day. One day does not exist. Another argument there is that time is constantly running out. Nothing we can add to it. We can't do anything to hold this process. Every second, every minute, every hour, every day, we travel closer to our moment of death. And we're not aware of it. If you lose 100 shekel bill, you would feel very sad. If we waste time by not just not practicing, but actually creating causes for lower rebirth, not much regret, is there? Sometimes you can read that example. If you would fall from an aeroplane without a parachute, you would be fully aware that death is approaching. You would know. Now, our situation is not that much different. The only difference is we don't know. Again, don't forget, this is not to make you depressed. This is for us to look, okay, I'm still alive. I still have time. How do I want to spend this time? It's your choice. You see, that we have to leave this world and we have to die, that's not sad. It's just normal. But what is sad is we have wasted our time with harming others, being only self-concerned, and not being considerate about other people's feelings, not amending when we hurt them, not doing anything beneficial. That is sad. That's why we do these reflections. And again, of course, now, with the Zoom, you have so much access to Dharma, and you listen to teachings, and you listen to teachings, and you listen to teachings, or do the reflections with me today. Yes, that's part of the practice. But then we have to integrate it in our behavior. Practice is when we see that our unhelpful mental states are decreasing. That's the purpose. Or at least when we see they're not decreasing, but we become aware of it. As much as possible, we apply antidote that we learn in the teaching. Now, if you have a bad conscience coming up that you're not doing enough, let go of that. Nowhere does the Buddha teach that it's helpful to feel good. Nowhere. Make a decision. Your choice. How do I want to spend the rest of it? Okay. So maybe now we have convinced our mind that we are mortal, that at one point we will die. This life in this body will end. The more we think about it, the more it becomes normal, the more we start to appreciate life. That's the benefit. So that we don't put it off with transforming our mental states, applying antidotes and training to have a good heart, and also to kind of study emptiness so that we also develop the wisdom side. So that we don't put it off. Then the next point is that the time of death is absolutely uncertain. That's even more difficult to understand. Or understand intellectually, yes, of course. But when you see somebody that is healthy, next day another person comes and says, "Oh, have you heard? Such and such has died." How do we react? Try to imagine. How would you react? You go like, "Oh yeah, of course. Time of death is totally uncertain. You can be healthy today and dead tomorrow." Would we react like this? What's your reaction to such a situation? And it seems in society we have to react in such an unrealistic way, going like, "Oh no, I just saw him yesterday, he was healthy," as if that's a guarantee. If you would say, "Oh yeah, of course, time of death is uncertain," people would think we have no feelings and have a cold heart. Although we're talking reality here. We don't want to hear. We don't want to hear these facts, isn't it? So to internalize it again, we have to give the mind arguments, facts. Why is the time death uncertain? Because our lifespans are not fixed. Like, I don't know, the validity of a Visa card, for example. Or if you have signed up in a fitness center and you see that time is running out, and either you renew it, means you have to pay again for it. But if you don't want to renew it, what will you do with these last few weeks? You will go, you will use it properly. We don't have that with human life. We can't say, "Oh, I'll practice 2 weeks before I have to go." And again, what does it mean here, the practice? The practice means to remain calm, open, composed in the face of difficulties, pain, suffering, and so on. That's preparing for death. Having a refuge, knowing where to put the mind. Another factor here is that we're constantly surrounded by things that can cause our death. Even things that are there to protect you. Houses can collapse or burn, we're locked inside. The food that we are eating that keeps us alive can be poisoned, especially if you eat like meat or fish or shrimps and stuff like that, or if you're allergic to something. And also medicines. They're being taken in the wrong way. Instead of curing you, they can kill it. We're so sure that it will not happen to us. Yes, these things, some they kill, but me, they will protect. It's so unrealistic. The plane that I'm going to fly in is not going to fall down. The flood that is happening is not going to happen where I am. We always think we're protected, but it is so unrealistic. It's not samsara to think that we are protected wherever we want, wherever we go. And the third of these arguments, that time of death is uncertain. Our body is very fragile. It takes so much to keep it alive. It takes so little to end its life. A bit of imbalance or something, now it's really meaningful. I used to always say the same sentence at this point. It went like this, or it goes like this. Something as small as a virus that you cannot even see with your own eyes can enter your body and cause death. 20 years ago, when I was leading a lot of these meditations, I said it, but it seemed so a little bit unrealistic, because at that time there was AIDS, maybe, sicknesses in India like typhus, dysentery, things like that. It's very rare. Now we understand. Something as small as a virus that has even a name called COVID-19 that I cannot see, touch, hear, smell, enters the body, who knows through where, from whom, and it can cause death. My body seems so strong and so powerful. That little virus is strong. Even if I'm vaccinated, even if I wash my hands, even if I kind of keep distance, I still have to contact people. Otherwise, if it's not the virus, I can fall down the step. I can have a heart attack. I can have a blood clot somewhere. So many causes that can destroy this very fragile. And we think we are protected. So when you hear these kind of facts, then maybe, before we have decided, okay, how do I want to spend my life? And now we decide, okay, if I want to spend the rest of my life in that way, I have to start now. I cannot put it off. would be the conclusion of this point. And the last point, last main point in this kind of making ourselves familiar that we are mortal, is that we look what will help at the time of death. So again, it's not black and white, because we think about possessions, friends, family, and this body. These three things are what we put a lot of effort, time, energy, resources in order to keep them up and in order for us to feel somehow protected and have a happy life. We rely upon them. But at the time of death, they will collapse. We cannot take them with us. We cannot rely on them to protect us, to look after. We have to go alone. So it depends on your attitude that you have towards these three objects: possession, friends, family, and your body. If you're attached to them, leaving them behind will be very painful, very difficult, because you have to go alone. You will feel abandoned. You might feel angry, confused, and lost. And we think it's not like this, isn't it? We think, nah, I understand. I can't take them with me, so therefore I leave them behind. I say thank you, and imagine the mind still continues. Buddhism doesn't say everything is finished, then it would be no problem. But the mind continues into a confused state of the bardo, without any friend, without family that you can rely on. No mobile phone, no Google, no Waze, no nothing. Not even a body. Be prepared for that. Because what you also lose, most probably, is your identity. Because our identity we create through these things: possession, friends, family, nationality, religion, gender. We be sure that without all this, that we so solemnly rely on to have happiness, some kind of security, that we have to go without this. We still be calm, composed, and curious. So this is the training. This is the preparation for death. What will happen, we don't know. But that we have a refuge, something that we can rely upon. I think that when the situation is like this from the text. When the doctor gives me up, when rituals no longer work, when friends and family have given up hope for my life, when anything I do is futile, may I be blessed to remember my Guru's instruction. Again, please, now don't go, oh, but I don't have a Guru, I didn't get the instructions. We know the instruction for the time of death. A very short sutra. And we're going to meditate on these instructions that are short, precise. All Dharma is in the next. Preparing for death is every situation in my life now that is difficult. Instead of running away, may I confront it with Dharma method, with compassion and wisdom. Instead of running away or reacting with aggression, anger, rejection, or ignore. Life is as impermanent as the water bubble. Remember how quickly it decays and death comes. After death, just like a shadow follows the body, the results of black and white karma follow. Finding firm and definite conviction in this, please bless me always to be careful to abandon even the slightest negativities and accomplish all virtuous deeds. These are the instructions of the Guru. Abandon negativities, meaning not collaborating with our negative emotions anymore. Be really careful that when they're up, that we don't say anything, we don't act with the body, and accomplish all virtuous deeds. Whenever we have the occasion to practice generosity, patience, kindness, connectedness, compassion, then we do. If we can remember that at the time of death, we have nothing to worry about our next. Okay. So now we only have we make 15 minutes break, okay? So that you can relax a bit. And so until 20 past, kind of. And then we use this sutra, where Akashagarbha is asking the Buddha, where can I put my mind at the time of death? And so the Buddha says where to put the mind. So we meditate briefly on these three things. And then we do the death absorptions, which is also a very good preparation for death, because these are the things that can appear at the time of death before the mind leaves the body. So that's also a very good preparation. We were supposed to do that already Wednesday, but we didn't. So we do it today, and then we do it also next Wednesday evening, because it's really good to do these absorptions again and again and again and again. These whatever appears, because it's not what the mind experiences when it is alive. So then we get confused. Whereas when we know this is normal, same thing. When you have the COVID vaccination and the side effects of fever and maybe headache or feeling tired, but it finishes after 24 hours, it's okay. No big deal. But if you don't know that this is the side effects, then you think, it's the vaccine who's making me sick. Well, it is the vaccine who's making you sick, but it's your body reaction anyway. So, but there's a lot of daily examples that we can use that when we know it's normal. I mean, I know it's normal that when I go on top of a mountain and I go down, I step off the cliff, that I fall. I know it's normal. So this is why I'm not doing it. Yeah. And then if I do by accident fall, I'm not going, oh, what is happening now? Why am I falling? I know. So then I try to catch myself without panic. You see what I mean? Yes, no? Oh, is nodding. The other is not so sure. Edouard, yeah?
Just an example, when you're traveling on a boat or sailing, after a few days, going back to land, then you feel land sick.
Mm-hmm.
You feel that you're dizzy just walking on the land. And if you know that's normal, then it's not frightening.
Yeah, it's not frightening. And on top of it, you're not trying to stop the earth from shaking. You see, this is what we're doing. We are trying to adjust to things outside. So this is, instead of seeing that what is happening outside, this is my karma to see it like that. So instead of adjusting the mind, we kind of try to do it outside. So, but when we know that it's not frightening and we're not adjusting the wrong things. It's a very good example, yeah. So I used to have vertigo also, like about 2 years ago, really badly, almost every day for 2 hours. And so it's like the room is spinning around you. I am fixed, but the room is going around. So if I wouldn't know that it's my mind producing this, I would try to stop the walls, which of course doesn't work. And I would get sicker and sicker and sicker, and I would start vomiting. Whereas I know, oh, this is my mind. I go lie down. And then after 2 hours, it stopped. So yeah, that's a very good example. When we know it's normal, we not get frightened. And we get curious, like we go like, oh, no, the earth is not supporting me anymore. What will happen next? And we start to look. And this is another very good example, because at Tushita, we did these death absorptions, and we talked about death in a course. And then one of the participants, he had dysentery and he was totally dehydrated. We had to put him down into Delek Hospital. So I don't know if you know Indian hospitals, there's no night guards or anything like this. So in the bed next to him, somebody was going through this process. Somebody was dying, no nurse around, no doctor around. So he said, but because I heard about these stages, so I became curious. And he was standing next to him or sitting next to him and just trying to be present and looking what is going on. He said, if I wouldn't have known that this is normal for a dying person, I would have totally freaked out. Yeah, so this is why it's very helpful to know about these things. Okay, so now we make break until 20 past, and then we die. So for the next meditation, if you want and if you can, I wish we could do like this, when the doctor comes and says, oh, sorry, nothing we can do, you'll have to die. And we go like, oh, great. So you can actually lie down if you want, because in order to go through these absorptions and then maybe stay in the clear light, it's very important that your body is comfortable. And I think we have a better chance to die lying down than sitting up in meditation. I don't think I'm so realized to do that. So I'll be sitting, of course, because I'll be leading it. But if you want, you can already make yourself a space where you can lie down. Big danger is that you will fall asleep, because that's what happens to the mind when we go to sleep. These appearances, although we're not conscious. It doesn't matter. Yeah. You can try sitting up, but you can also do it lying down. Okay. So I see you at 20 past.